All right, here we go. First episode of the new year, episode 33. I think, yeah, it is where it's not so harsh. I think that kind of helps. There's a whole bunch of shadows going on here, but what else is new? All right, let's get into it. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Idols to Rivals podcast, episode number 33, first of the new year. I am your host, Jack Hummell. It's at Jack Hummell on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everything at Jack Hummell with two M's, two L's. Like I said, first of the new year. I hope everyone's 2020 has started off right. If you saw the YouTube video I posted yesterday, went down to New Orleans. It was an absolute great time. If you've ever been to New Orleans, it can either be the best or worst time of your life. I consider it like a Vegas, or how I envision Vegas. I have never been to Vegas, but that's how I picture it, where it's either the best time or the worst time. And this time it was good. Last time I was there, it was a little rough. A lot of things went down. Maybe I'll tell a story or two eventually, but it was a good time this time. A lot of good friends, and met a whole bunch of good people out there from all different schools, all different places, things along that nature. Obviously, a lot of Ohio State and Clemson kids and families and everything like that, because of they were playing there in the Superdome, and Ohio State shocked the world at beating Clemson. But yeah, like I was saying, great New Year's trip. If you travel for New Year's, I normally do. It's very rarely have I spent a New Year's in my hometown. I think the last one I did was 4 years ago, and then I've done Nashville, Pennsylvania, or Philadelphia, New Orleans, done Nashville quite a few times, but it's normally the go-to because it's close. But yeah, if you go to travel to a different place for New Year's, leave it down in the comments, or DM me on Instagram and let me know. I'd love to hear other people's places of going. I saw a lot of people that at least I'm friends with, or close to, acquaintances, things like that, went to Miami, which I love Miami, so I totally get that, and it's warm down there, which I get. New Orleans wasn't the coldest. It was rainy on the actual day before, or December 31st. It was raining, and then it rained. Kind of let up during the actual hours of New Year's, so that was good. Smoked a couple of victory cigars, a couple goodbye to 2020 cigars, and yeah, like I said, the next day we watched all the games. Alabama crushed. Najee Harris is a freak. It was a great time seeing him hurdle that Notre Dame player was quite incredible, and he's just a great dude. And then last night we watched Devontae Smith become the fourth wide receiver ever to win a Heisman. We have now more wide receivers than quarterbacks that have won the Heisman at the University of Alabama, but no better person to deserve a Heisman than Devontae Smith. Just such a nice person, quiet guy, respectful, humble guy, and he's just an absolute beast. The Slim Reaper is coming to the NFL, and I cannot wait for it. But yeah, it's crazy. We have the national title next week, January 11th, as Justin Fields ribs, I mean, his COVID, or whoever's COVID on Ohio State, doesn't interrupt that. But we'll see what happens. That is also in Miami, so it should be cool. I can't wait to. I want to see a couple games in Miami, and things along that nature. The Hard Rock Stadium. That's where my Colts won the Super Bowl in '07. So there's a lot of history I have with that stadium, and still never been. So I got to get down there eventually, and maybe sooner rather than later. But we'll have to see. But yeah, getting ready for the national title. We should see where we're going with that here pretty soon. They'll probably announce the game, and we'll see if there's any plans to make a little YouTube video about the national title. Because last time we won, I was a junior at Alabama, and on the strip that goes across the whole campus, it was mobbed. I mean, people were jumping on cars. Some of the bars that have rooftops turned their speakers around and started blasting "We Are the Champions." It was one of the greatest moments of my life, without question. And I actually owe that to Devontae Smith as well, because he caught that touchdown pass from Tua on 2nd and 26 in overtime, and that was one of the greatest memories of my life, and one of the greatest nights I've ever had in Tuscaloosa. So it was a great time. So I owe that man a lot. And if you're listening to this, Devontae Smith, one day, I can't wait to meet you and talk to you. That'd be an awesome time. And if you watch this next video coming up, you get kind of a teaser. So I've talked about chapter 6, or how I structure my goals. And I know it's different than most people. Most people have their New Year's resolutions. Most people have just kind of the goals of maybe a 5-year goal, 10-year goal, things along that nature. But a while back, I watched this YouTuber, and I can't remember who it was, but he was saying, I set 3-month goals. And the reason you set 3-month goals, 90 days, 115-day goals, whatever it may be. I normally just pick a date that looks cool, or say Google what's 90 days from today and figure it out. Because I figured that with New Year's resolutions, I would break them and then I would call it quits. I'd be like, you know what, the year's shot. It's like whenever you would wake up late to class and you're like, all right, we'll try again tomorrow. Sort of that sort of mentality. And I figured that was scrapping away a full year of my life and productivity and things along that nature. So I break it up into chapters. Like I said, they can vary from, I'll usually do it towards like holidays. Like normally it'll be from New Year's to spring break time, things along that nature, or from spring break to my birthday. That's kind of normally the structure, just kind of finding pivotal moments in the year to set an end date, so you have something to celebrate, you have something to look forward to, and it just makes sense. You'll remember your birthday, you'll remember when spring break is, you'll remember when winter break is, whatever you want to structure it. So this is the beginning of chapter 6 for me. That's just 6 90-day periods. So about a year and a half, 2 years, I've been tracking it, and it started slow. This last chapter 5, was one of the best. One of the goals that I achieved was financial stuff, was getting a job, was having savings and saving a lot of my money, was uploading a lot of videos I didn't achieve. I wanted to upload 25 videos in 90 days or 100 days. And I ended up uploading like 18, which is quadruple what I had in this 4 years prior. So even though I didn't reach my goal, I still had very valiant steps towards reaching those. And so I've learned a lot. And what I'll do after that is, on the other page of the notebook that I use, you might seen the black notebook. I have this white one here. This is more of like business ideas and things along that nature, but the black notebook is more personal stuff. And so on the back of that, we'll have that the picture of goals. So I do 3 health goals, or 4 health goals, 4 wealth goals, and then 2 love goals. And love is like relationships, family, things along that nature. And so that's 10 goals, just 10 to keep track of. And so you don't have too many of them. I did like 15, 5, 5, and 5. I was just way too many to keep track of. And then you realize you accomplish none of them, and it's just triples down on how bad you feel. So I switched it up from that, whittled it down to 10 just to make it simple. And like I said, I achieved more than I ever have in this last chapter. And a lot of it had to do with being creative. A lot of it had to do with getting over that anxiety of recording, of filming, of things like that. And it's only led to great things. It's only led to me improving myself, me being more confident in my decisions, and stepping outside of my comfort zone, or shying away from people who say, do this, do that. So it's led a lot of promise to me. And I just want to take a quick side note here. Recently we had a good buddy of mine. I only knew him for a short time, but he was a really, I consider him just a great human to be around and a great friend. And he passed away suddenly recently. I'm not going to give any more details than that, because it's not my right. And I want to take it as a time to just say, Brian, whenever I see you again, I can't wait to go lift some weights and go kick the kickball around. You're an awesome dude, and you just lit up every room. And I felt it would be a disservice not to bring up his name again, because now that it's recorded, now that's out there, it will never ever die. They say you die twice. The first time is when your physical body dies. The second time is when people say your name for the last time. And so I figured, put it on the internet, and as long as the internet is a thing, then you'll be remembered, and your name will never go as well. And so you taught me a lot. You offered to help me find a job, and I'm just so thankful I had the short amount of time I had with you. But I just figured I couldn't stop without bringing it up. And that's all I'm going to say on that. It's not a negative. It's a let's take the beautiful memories and the things, whether you're going through loss, things like that, take those memories and enhance them and bring them to life, and keep that spirit alive. Because we won't go into too much detail. We'll go in detail on another podcast, but I truly believe that they're never really gone, and we're all connected in some way. And there's a lot of avenues to go with that, but I'm taking it as, let's think about it positively. And like I said, I wanted to say his name one last time, or one time on the podcast, just so that flame would never go out. So like I said, he was a great guy, awesome guy. He was a leader, and just a great person to be around. Every time you were around him, you smiled. And I know a lot of people say that, but it was legit. He was absolutely hilarious. He was a stocky dude. He was just a good all around human. And so I'm thankful for every second I had with him, and we're going to use it as moving forward. And I'm trying to take it as I'm starting this new chapter of my life and things are changing quick. And I'm trying to use that as motivation to realize, hey, this whole life thing isn't forever. It's short sometimes, and you got to take advantage of it and use it as a stepping stone. Because I know that's what he would want. That's what other loved ones that you lose would want, is you to take that tragedy and bring it with you and put it in strides and create and do more in your life. And so I just figured I'd bring that up. This is not a sad note. This is just, I had to do it just because that's what he deserved. And like I said, now to live on the internet, which is one of the beautiful things about it. So anyway, just wanted to go in. Like I said, chapter 6, it's more about keeping yourself focused. So I grew up, and I'm sure if you've gone to, like, I know my business school did it. Both my business schools did it, where your SMART goals, which are like specific, I don't know what's the other one, matter of fact, I guess that's another, but realistic, and then timeline is RT and SMART, whatever they are. And that was a big thing with making these 90-day goals, is saying, okay, I'm going to have to lose this much weight. I'm going to run a mile this fast. I'm going to be at this body fat percentage. I'm going to have this many followers. I'm going to have this much money in my savings account. I'm going to invest this much money. Having a tangible goal and a deadline has really changed how much I've produced and how effectively it is, and how on track because I'm the most ADHD person you can imagine. I'll be typing a text to someone, and I'll literally stop halfway through that text to type another text halfway through, and then go back to the other one and send neither of them until they're both complete at the same time. I lose track of things very quickly, and I take that I try to take that as positively as it can be and create and use it. And I think for a long time, I didn't know how to use it. So I would just waste time. I would just slack off and not do anything and just let my mind run, instead of putting things down on paper, putting things on video, recording things. And so using that to create these goals has led to very fruitful. Like I said, this channel wouldn't even exist. This podcast wouldn't exist if there wasn't if I didn't write these goals down, if I didn't have these things. And they say you're whatever 40-60% more likely to achieve your goals if they're written down. I 100% believe that, because I achieved almost none of my goals. I would, but they'd be lackluster. It'd be a goal that I had a year ago, and then it would randomly pop up because I take small steps towards it for a year, but really it could have taken a month or 2 months or 3 months to achieve. And so having these goals written down, and I'm sure everyone else has their different methods, but this is just, I'm sharing how I'm trying to start my year off on the right foot and get things to where they need to be for 2022. I got a lot of things that I'm working on. I think this year is going to be crazy in a good way. I think there's a lot of possibilities. I know there's a lot of possibilities. And with that comes big changes. With that comes hardship. With that comes the spoils of war. And that's why we all do it, to achieve things, to enjoy the journey, even when it's not so enjoyable. That's my mission for this year, is enjoying the journey and realizing that if you keep grinding, things will happen. They say hard workers are the luckiest people on earth, because when you work hard, luck just gravitates towards you, because it's all those little minute steps lead to you climbing the mountain. And so focusing on that and enjoying the grind is something that I've had trouble with forever. And knowing that if you do that, and once you get there, that you're going to look back and be like, oh, I wish I could start over. I remember during pledgeship, for example, you'd have all the actives being like, oh, I would kill to be on the other side of this. And be like, oh, you'd kill to be back driving cars and things like that, and picking people's food up and stuff along that nature, among other things. And they're like, yeah, because that means I have more time. That means I have a whole nother year. Even sophomores would say, I have a whole nother year of being at this school. I have a whole nother year with the best friends of my life. And it kind of put things into perspective of how valuable time is. You look at these people and you're like, they've achieved so much, but they'd give it all up for 20 more years. Money means nothing. You can't take it with you, but they would give it all up and come back to where you are, be 20 years old, 25 years old, 18 years old. And not only would they make it back, most likely, because they know the skills and what needs to happen for success, but they realize that time it doesn't matter if you're Bill Gates, it doesn't matter if you're Warren Buffett, it doesn't matter if you live in a small condo in Austin, Texas. Your time is the only thing you can't buy. You can heal yourself to an extent. If you have money, you can get the best medicine, but when it's your time to go, it's your time to go, and there's nothing you can do about that. And so putting that into perspective and realizing that you should enjoy the journey and embrace the grind is something that I want 2020 to be all about, is enjoying the hardships and enjoying the fact that whenever it's all said and done, it'll be all worth it. It'll taste even sweeter when you study hard for a test and then you get that grade, even if it was like an 87 and you thought you were going to fail it. That was the greatest feeling on earth. Or you score that goal in lacrosse. That's the greatest feeling on earth. It changed your life. And then you freak out over these things, like somebody doesn't text back, or you didn't get the job, or somebody breaks up with you. It crushes you. It ruins your life. And you go, I'm going to spend my time on this planet worrying about that, on the small stuff, or, hey, that guy cut me off in traffic. Just the tiny stuff that we all get strung up on, and we all, it takes up part of our life, and it's going to happen. We're all humans. It's just how it works. But realizing that the grind is part of it has always been a struggle for me. And that's, like I said, my focus for 2021 and going forward. And this year, I just want it to be all about connections. In college, it's easy to make connections. It's easy to go through and meet 1,000 people at the bar in a night, or at a house party, or in class with 300 other people. And then you get out of school and it's like you have that's still that drive. And I'm a very, very social person. I can't really, I hate to say it, can't really survive without people, being surrounded by people and their energy and things along that nature. It's my everything. That's why I'm always, as soon as somebody's like, hey, let's link, I'll be the first one to be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get a whole squad together and do whatever. It could be watching football. It could be hanging out. It could be playing beard eye. It could be playing chess. I really don't care, but it's using that energy to move forward. And so more meaningful connections, I think, is my biggest goal for 2021, besides all the like chapter 6 stuff that I was just talking about, the 90-day goals, is just embracing the grind, making real connections, and putting my feet down and moving forward. For me, coming out of college, you still have that kind of, in college, you act like you're an adult. You're not an adult. You most likely your bills are paid for, or if they're not, you're paying cheaper rent than you would if you were living in an apartment. You don't really have insurance costs. You may have car insurance. You don't have life insurance costs, things along that nature. And obviously, these are all case by case basis. There's some people that pay for everything. I totally get that, but let's talk about majority here. And so it's not really adulting. You're not really doing taxes, things along that nature. And so that comes with so much fun and so much excitement of just that kind of letting the leash go and having no anchors around your feet. That comes with so much, and it's so great for so long. But like I said about grinding and fighting for it, is whenever your name's stamped to something and everything's all your own, it changes the way you feel about it. Like I said, whenever your first job you got a paycheck and it was like $100, and maybe you got $100 for Christmas, or you saved $100 over 5 Christmases, whatever it may be. That $100 you got from that first job. I mean, I think my first job was a busser. I was like a busboy at a restaurant where I grew up, and the hours I had to work sucked ass. Being a busser, the food industry in general. If you haven't worked in the food industry as a busser or server or anything like that, I've done both. The only thing I really haven't done is bartended too much, but you need to, because it'll change your perspective on humans. It'll change your perspective on service workers, and it'll just all around make you a better person. You'll resent more people, but it'll make you a better person. But that $100 you earn from your first paycheck is completely different. You're like, I don't even want to spend $5 on a pack of Mentos or whatever you're buying, or a couple songs on iTunes felt like $1.29. You're like, damn, like that's 1% of my paycheck. I earn, that's 15 minutes of my paycheck, or whatever it may be. You spend $10 on something, that's 10 hours of my paycheck, or whatever, or 10% of my paycheck. And so it means a lot more whenever you're on your own, and you're on your own and you earned what you have. And so getting a lot of satisfaction out of that is great, but also being smart about it, not jumping into a role that I can't handle, where I go into debt or things along that nature. I'm living way out of my means, things, and just all around going too fast. And like I said, I'm ADHD. I want to go 100 miles an hour all the time. That's what I like. That's how I'm wired. But realizing that there's a way to do that, calculated. There's a way to attack all the time. And every time I say at the end of these podcasts, just remember to attack everything. It's going on the offense, going after your dreams. I got stuck in the pondering phase for a long time. I have 60 of these journals that are 1 page long. And if you haven't watched if you haven't watched the podcast on YouTube, go check it out, Jack Hummell on YouTube. But I'm showing the notebooks that I use. I had like 60 of those and 5 stars and everything like that. And I'd write one page on it and be like, I'd write the date at the top, be like, this is the day everything changes. And I'd just write a page on it, be like, oh, I need a new notebook. I need a better notebook. I need a more expensive notebook before anything's going to work. And so it was that pondering stage. It was about writing quotes down all the time. And I still write a ton of quotes down, but it's about just shooting gun and just shoot or shoot. That's it. That is all it is. You're only going to make it if you shoot the shot. And so living by that and just attacking everything and being on the offense, transitioning to that took a few years. I remember watching motivational quote unquote videos on YouTube in high school, junior year of high school, when I really had nothing going on, when I wasn't who I wanted to be. I was the opposite of who I wanted to be, didn't have many friends, all that stuff. And where and high school sucks for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're popular or not. High school sucks for 99% of people. But when you're really at that low point and you're like, damn, I don't know who I am. You're going through all these changes. It's whatever. You don't know who your friends are, things along that nature. You really, I dove into YouTube. I dove into video games, things along that nature. And it put me in this, I'm glad it took so long that it put me in the mindset of evolving. And it took me, like I said, 4 years to really go from the pondering stage to the attack stage. And now I'm not going to let this momentum slip, because momentum is the strongest force in the universe. And now that I'm on attack mode, I want to keep going and going and going, but doing it smartly, doing it the right way, and understanding that things will come. You just have to be a magnet towards it. You have to invite that into your world by working hard and by doing the right things and making decisions. And everything you want in this world is on the other side of your decisions. Think about that. Everything you want is on the other side of your decisions. You want to go be a TikTok star in LA? Make the right decisions to do it. Start uploading 17 times a day. Something's going to happen. Something is going to happen. I can promise you something will happen. You want to go be a lawyer? Go study as many books on law as you can. Go to law school. Doesn't matter if you start at a community college for law. I don't know how that works. I'm not a law student, but there's ways. And just constantly having your head against the grindstone is the way that you become lucky, is the way that you land the job you want, is the way that you live the life you want. And just knowing that the first little bit you're going to suck, or maybe not. There's 2 options. You're either going to be bad at it or you're going to be good at it. If you're bad at it, grind and you'll get good at it. If you're good at it, keep grinding and you'll be better at it. It's not a hard equation. And I think that it's so simple that it gets tied around in my head. Like I just said, uploading a million videos a day. I've been having troubles uploading videos on my YouTube channel twice a week. So these things happen and you just got to roll with the punches. And that's why I do these podcasts, is to vocalize my thoughts and to put them in the air and make them reality. And so it's helped a lot. Like I said, we're 33 episodes in. It's helped a lot. I've uploaded more YouTube videos than ever. And I've made a lot more friends. I've discovered a lot more about myself than I ever thought I would, especially this young. And I realize kind of the direction I want to go. I don't know exactly, but I think whenever you go down a road, even if it's the wrong road, you're still moving forward. And I heard this great quote or piece of life advice from TikTok, obviously, because I'm addicted to TikTok for some reason. Well, it's addicting. That's why. There's no, for some reason. It's if you haven't got TikTok yet, I wouldn't recommend it because you'll be on there for hours. But this girl was talking about how she felt like she was moving in slow motion. She graduated school, then she went to law school or dentistry school, whatever it was. And all her friends were getting married and having kids and just living life. And she's like, I feel so far behind. I feel like I'm moving in slow motion. And she said she talked to her dad, and her dad said, hey, Susie, or whatever her name was, you're a slingshot. Sometimes you got to go back. And as soon as you unload that slingshot, you're going to fly forward and you're going to go to the level of where you think you should be and where you need to be for yourself. And I thought about that a lot. I'm like, damn, it's the perfect metaphor. You're pulling. It feels like you're going backwards, but you're really just loading up the momentum to just soar forward. And so I want to leave with that. And just get after it. Attack everything. Get after it. This is your time. I think 2021 is going to be a great year. I think we're still going to have some of the struggles we had from last year, if not a lot of them. But it's a great year to have a great year. Brian, I know you're listening. Miss you, bud. like I said, can't wait to see you again, laugh with you again. And just remember, everybody, like, love somebody today, because you never know. And let's attack our dreams. Let's make people proud. Let's make ourselves proud. Look in the mirror and say, fuck, I love you. And just be proud. But on that note, I'm leaving this podcast. I'm not going to do an after dark on the YouTube channel. Just going to end it here on that note. And like I said, I will see you guys in the next one. I've been your host at Jack Hummell, 2M's, 2L's, Instagram, YouTube. I'd appreciate a subscription. I'm working really hard on getting this YouTube up, and I appreciate all the love and every view. It means a lot. So have a good week, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Peace out, guys. Appreciate it for listening or watching. And if you're in the year 2050, comment down 2050 and let me know how I'm looking.